I have a very serious and important announcement for the viewers of this show. If you can throw at least 85 miles per hour with one good off speed pitch, the Chicago Cubs would like to see you because they have no more pitchers. Welcome to the Dugout. I'm your host, Joseph Silva, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about the Cubs and their absolutely brutal news they got this past week. We're going to take a look at the post-election year NL West. If you watched last week's episode, I know you know. And really just give you a lot of good baseball content here. But before we get started, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the Run the Play Network. These NBA playoffs, man, cinematic. But more importantly, Ant-Man's Thunder got destroyed and embarrassed in Game 1. Phil's Lakers were eliminated by the Timberwolves. I'd love to see them complain. I think you guys would too. That's why you guys should check out the latest episode of You Know Ball. Now, speaking of ball knowers, got to talk about AJ Preller and Buster Posey because their teams have been fantastic to start the year. And then in the first of many clashes between the Padres, the Giants, and the Dodgers, and what looks to be a very, very entertaining National League West, we have a 2-game series between the Padres and Giants to kick off this absolute bloodbath. In Game 1, the Padres won this one 7-4, and Logan Webb, he's been fantastic to start the year, but this was just not a good start from him. This was his worst start of the year. He went 5 innings, gave up 9 hits, 5 earned, a walk, 6 strikeouts. Just did not have it whatsoever. The Padres hitters timed up that sinker and changeup combo very, very well. Led to disastrous results. But Nick Pivetta wasn't necessarily the Nick Pivetta starts we've been getting from him in San Diego, but he has been fantastic regardless. He went 5 1/3, gave up 3 earned, a walk, 9 strikeouts. Just overall, not as dominant as he's been, but he's been very, very good regardless. Offensively, Xander Bogaerts opened the scoring with an RBI single, followed by a 2-run single from Jose Iglesias in the second. Willie Adames would cut the lead in half with a solo home run in the fourth. And Luis Arias sac fly, followed by a Manny Machado single, added 2 to San Diego's tally in the bottom half of that inning. And Jung-Hoo Lee, he did what he could to make it competitive. He had an RBI single, would come around to score on a 2-run double from Lamont Wade Jr. San Diego's bullpen shut it down from there. Ultimately, a pretty convincing win from the Padres in Game 1. But the Giants, they looked bounced back in Game 2. Couldn't do it, and really it was all on Landon Root. He went 4 1/3, gave up 7 hits, 4 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Michael King outdueled him and outclassed him, quite frankly, because that was a fantastic start from King. He went 5 2/3, gave up 3 hits, an earned run, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Just dominant stuff from him overall. He shows why he is one of the contenders for the National League Cy Young this year. Meanwhile, offensively, Tyler Wade opened the scoring for the Padres with an RBI single in the second. Elias Diaz, of all people, he might actually be back, folks. He had a solo home run in the third to make it 2-0. Manny Machado and Jose Iglesias added RBI singles in the fifth to make it 4-0. And Jung-Hoo Lee answered immediately with an RBI single in the sixth, which not only was it an RBI single in the sixth, but he lived up to his nickname because the grandson of the wind flew like a motherfucker down the line to beat out that infield single to score the run. But unfortunately, Luis Arias answered immediately in the bottom half of the inning with an RBI single of his own. And then Elio Ramos and Mike Yastrzemski added solo home runs in the 7th and 8th respectively to make it competitive. But the Padres bullpen locked it down in the 9th. And quite frankly, the Padres just looked the better team. I know I am going to be eating a ton of crow for saying they were going to finish 4th in the division. But yeah, their pitching staff has been phenomenal. King, Pivetta, dominant. Dylan Cease, not necessarily the Cy Cease form we were seeing earlier in his career, but he has been very, very good to start the year, on top of a fantastic bullpen spearheaded, of course, by the incredible Robert Suarez. Offensively, Machado, he's been good. I hate to admit it. Fernando Tatis Jr. is playing like the NL MVP, quite frankly, and they're getting contributions from people who you wouldn't expect, like Elias Diaz. They've been flat out phenomenal. God, it's going to be an awful year. But for the Giants, looking at it, their pitching is really what was supposed to carry them, and they just let them down in this series, and that's what did them in. Logan Webb and Rube just did not have great starts, And offensively, they had the firepower, they just couldn't put it together. Jung-Hoo Lee, there's not words to describe how incredible he's been to start the season. He's just been that freaking good, man. Chapman's been a little slow as well as Adames, but Elio Ramos has really come up in a big way, really continuing what I call the feel-good story of last year. And really, if you're looking at it, you can't really glean that much from a two-game series, but to beat the ace of the Giants and really what is up to that point his best season, and to do it so convincingly, the Padres, they will not go quietly into that night. But a team that may be going quietly into that night is the Minnesota Twins, because they have had a rough start to the year. And they had a big 4-game series against the Cleveland Guardians to really show, like, hey, this is who we are, and who they are is not a good baseball team, quite frankly. In Game 1, the Twins absolutely demolished the Guardians. I know I just said they weren't a good team, but we'll get to that in a little bit, as they won 11-1. Bailey Ober for Minnesota, phenomenal. He went 7 2/3, gave up 8 hits, and earned a run, 2 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Gavin Williams did basically the opposite. He went 2 innings, gave up 7 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and it was immediately bad for Williams from the get-go, as Edouard Julien left it off the game with a solo shot, followed by Ryan Jeffers' RBI double later in the inning. Byron Buxton would then add a 2-run single in the second to make it 4-0. Jonah Brad and Harrison Bader just absolutely tore him up a little bit, as they had RBI singles in the 5th. And then Santa came early because Big Christmas delivered. John Kenzie Noel added an RBI single in the bottom of the inning for the lone Cleveland run in this one. Ty France added an RBI double and would score on a Mickey Gasper RBI single. And Jeffers did Cleveland dirty, man. He hit a 2-run shot in the 8th just to make it a 10-run game. Absolutely dominant from Minnesota. And that's about as good as it was going to get for them in the series. Because in Game 2, it was a pitching duel, man. A fantastic one at that. Cleveland won this one, unfortunately, 2-1. The Sheriff is in town because Chris Paddock, he went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, and earned 1, a walk, 2 strikeouts. Not really, the top prospect that Chris Paddock was a decade ago, but exactly what you want from Chris Paddock at this point in his career. Tanner Bybee bounced back from last week, starting a big way. He went 7 innings, giving up 5 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 5 strikeouts. And then this one, it was just a one-man show, quite frankly, because there are a bunch of solo shots in the inning. Or in this one, Josh Naylor had a solo shot in the 3rd. Ty France would tie it up with a solo shot in the 5th. And Kyle Manzardo had a walk-off. Kyle Manzardo had a walk-off home run off Louis Varland in the 9th to win it for Cleveland. And it really was the selfie game, because it was all solo shots. Now, in Game 3, it was 4-2 Cleveland. Pablo Lopez did all that he could. He went 6 1/3, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts. He really is looking back to that Pablo Lopez that was supposed to be the dark horse, or Tarek Skubal was the dark horse. He was the second dark horse in the 2024 Cy Young race. Really looked very dominant in this one, getting back to that form. But unfortunately for him, Luis Ortiz was more dominant, as he went 6 1/3 as well, but he only gave up 3 hits. He didn't give up any runs, walked 2, struck out 5, really limited this Twins offense. And Carlos Santana opened the scoring with an RBI single that would lead to Jose Ramirez scoring on a throwing error by Lopez. And then, of course, it just got blown open immediately as he scored on a Bo Naylor 3-run bomb. Brooksley, he tried to claw it back a little bit. He had a solo shot in the 8th. And Trevor Lawrence would score on a wild pitch from Emmanuel Clase. I'm so sorry, by the way, Clase. In the 9th, to kind of make it interesting, but overall, it was never in doubt who was winning this one. The Guardians were in control for sure. And in the finale, with a chance to even up the series, split it 2-2. It was a tight one. It was contested, but ultimately Cleveland would prevail 4-3. Simeon Woods Richardson had a Simeon Woods Richardson-esque start. Let's face it, he went 4 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 2 earned, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. He was outdueled by Ben Lively, who went 5 2/3, gave up 5 hits, no earned, and no walks, totaling 2 strikeouts. Just a very good start from Lively. And Kyle Manzardo would open the scoring for the Guardians with an RBI single in the first. And yeah, I love the nickname. I love the man. But that baseball did not love what he did to him as John Kenzie Noel, Big Christmas, absolutely murdered a baseball. Go back and watch this one. This ball went far, like almost into the Allegheny kind of far. Woo, that was a beautiful shot there. He would double the lead on that one. Christian Vasquez and Carlos Correa tied the game in the ninth or in the seventh with RBI singles. And in the 10th, a bride sack fly would give the Twins the lead, but Ramirez and Martinez had RBI singles to win the game for Cleveland. And looking at it for Cleveland, surprisingly enough, the rotation has been really, really good this year. I was shocked. I didn't have high hopes for that rotation. And in the bullpen, they've been fine for the most part. The arms that were good last year were good this year for the most part, except for, and I hate to say this, because I went out on a limb, ranked him a top 50 player against consensus, quite frankly. And this is how you repay me. Emmanuel Clase has been awful to start the year. He's got an ERA over 6. He's blown a couple saves. He's just not looked good whatsoever. Maybe the Tigers broke him in the division series. He just has not been the same whatsoever this year. And for the Twins, same thing. Their shiny toy and Griffin Jackson, the bullpen, has been broken. He doesn't look that good this year. Johan Duran is fine. But this is a team besieged with injuries. Matt Wallner was someone that was supposed to break out this year. He's injured. Byron Buxton is playing fine, but it's only a matter of time. Royce Lewis just came off the IL yesterday. Let's see how he does. But again, he is a Christian McCaffrey-esque glass cannon. Great when he's on the field, but he is very rarely on the field. The pitching staff has been good for the most part. I got to shout out my boy Joe Ryan. He's been phenomenal to start the year. The rest of the rotation is decent, but they are getting no contributions from anybody offensively. And you kind of saw it here in this series. Whereas aside from game one, they scored 6 runs for the rest of the series. Yeah, it was just brutal to watch for the Twins fans out there. Guardians, meanwhile, continue to show why they're legit. But they're not the best team in their division. That goes to the American League best Detroit Tigers. Unfortunately, they didn't show that in this series here because the Astros won this series 2-1. And in game 1, they showed why they're still the Houston Astros. In an 8-5 victory, Jack Flaherty would only manage to go 5 innings. He gave up 6 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. I love you, Jack. Just be good, please. He was outpitched by Ronel Blanco, who went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. And offensively, the scoring would open up with a Kerry Carpenter 2-run shot in the 4th, followed by a Riley Green solo shot to make it 3-0. Christian Walker got it almost got it all back with a 2-run shot of his own in the bottom half of the 4th. Jose Altuve then gives the Houston faithful something to cheer for as he gives Houston the lead with a 2-run shot of his own in the 6th. Mauricio Dobon adds a 2-run single followed by a Jose Altuve RBI groundout and a Yordan Alvarez RBI single in the 7th, really just to kind of push this way out of reach. But Riley Green would make it close. He had his second home run of the game. This one, a 2-run homer. But ultimately, they just could not come back against Josh Hader in this Astros bullpen. And in game 2, it was more of the same. Astros won this one 6-4. Reese Olson looking a little bit better here. Just wasn't what the Tigers needed, unfortunately, as he went 5 2/3, gave up 4 hits, 3 earned, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. He outdueled Ryan Gusto, who only went 4 1/3, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. And say it with me, there's a reason this man won AL Player of the Week last week, because Kerry Carpenter led off the game with a solo home run, followed by a Gleyber Torres RBI single in the 5th. Christian Walker had an RBI double in the bottom half of the inning and immediately scored on a Yanier Diaz 2-run single. Yordan had an RBI single in the 7th, and then he himself would score on an Isaac Paredes RBI triple, who would then again scored on an Yanier Diaz single. Really just a lot of great small ball here from Houston. That's what they kind of do to you sometimes, is they don't get you with the long ball. They get you with clutch hitting. And Spencer Torkelson cut the lead in the 9th with a 2-run shot of his own. But that's all they could really muster. but they did manage to pitch better in the finale. Jackson Jobe really continues, I want to say, his great rookie start. Didn't pitch deep, but he did look good. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 earned, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. He outdueled Ajo Blau. He went 4 innings, gave up 5 hits, 7 runs, 2 of them earned. Yeah, the defense for Houston is not that great this year. A walk, 6 strikeouts. But Jeremy Pena had a leadoff home run to kind of mirror Kerry Carpenter from the last game to open the scoring in this one. Then Colt Keith would give the Tigers the lead immediately in the second with a 2-run shot, followed by a Dodgers legend Zach McKinstry hitting a sac fly in the third, followed by a Javi Baez grand slam. Yes, Javier Baez hit a grand slam. That's how you knew it was over for Houston. But Altuve would try and claw it back with a 2-run double in the fifth, and Victor Caratini had a solo shot of his own to make it 7-4. But ultimately, the Tigers would win this one. And don't let this series fool you. The Tigers pitching has been great this year. We know how good Skubal has been. Jobe has looked really, really good as one of the many, many rookies that are just lighting up the American League right now. But offensively, the Tigers are just something else, man. Like, yeah, they're not walking a lot. They're not getting on base a lot. But Kerry Carpenter is phenomenal. Riley Green has been great this year. My God, Spencer Torkelson, of all people, has finally put it together and looks like he's hit that safe number 1 pick ceiling he had back 5 years ago. Love to see this from Torkelson. Colt Keith's been solid. Javi Baez, he's not giving you production offensively, but man, he plays a phenomenal center field. I kind of like to see this from him. I don't root on his downfall. I don't like his game, but man, is he so much fun to watch, and he has it going right now. But for the Astros, yeah, the offense really came to play. They're kind of answering a lot of the doubts me and many, many of their haters had going into the year. They look absolutely great offensively. And you didn't see Hunter Brown in this one. He's been phenomenal pitching-wise. Other than that, I don't really trust this rotation. Like, yeah, Framber's been good, but Blanco, Gusto, and Blau, just I don't feel sold on them. Great statement win from them. I just need to see a little bit more here, especially because they had some bad injury news come down the pipe later on in the week. But we'll tell you more about that after a word from our sponsor.
Man, okay, LeBron hit my parlay. Let's get it.
Oh shit, he hit it?
Yeah, bro. Look at this.
I won $200. I tailed your parlay.
How the heck did you win $200?
I used Boom Fantasy. I used their pick and spin, spun the wheel, got 10 times my money.
Bro, you gotta hook me up.
If you use code RTP, you could get a risk-free bet up to $100. Let's get back to the video.
Now, the injury news I was referring to with the Houston Astros is Yordan Alvarez. It happens but once a year. He will hit the IL with hand inflammation. Doesn't look anything too serious, but it's going to be about a 10-day stint for him. And it's really interesting to see because aside from Pena, Paredes, and Altuve, I don't really like this Houston lineup. I don't know where they're going to get production from. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they survive this Yordan-less time. And the Red Sox, meanwhile, also had a very, very big blow as Tristan Casas. He is out for the year with knee surgery. Really hate to see it because he has been one of the more underrated players in the league, in my opinion. Has a lot of good production, and they kind of need his bat in this lineup, quite frankly, because the pitching staff, aside from Garrett Crochet, is doing them no favors. And, of course, the one I alluded to at the beginning, Shota Imanaga pulled his hamstring running to first to cover the bag. I see now why Garrett Cole did not cover first base in the World Series, because he did not want to hurt his hamstring like Shota Imanaga. Now, the Cubs are down. Imanaga, Steele, Assad has yet to pitch for them this year. They need arms badly, quite frankly. The offense, yeah, they're hitting well. I don't think they're going to hit like this forever. But aside from Matthew Boyd, who do you really have in this rotation? Like, Tyone is fine, but yeah, Colin Ray is not giving you a lot of depth. They need somebody to come back healthy or someone from the farm to step up in a major, major way here, because this might be something that kind of does them in a little bit. But the big news here, we have our first firing of the year, and that is the Rangers firing hitting coach Donnie Ecker after just a very, very bad start for them. And granted, I'm being nitpicky here. But they murdered my boy Corey Seager's stance, man. He was so beautiful. Now he's got it like open wide. Like, I don't know what he did. He still has great production, don't get me wrong. So it's working for Seager, but why fix what wasn't broken? And you kind of see this in a lot of the Rangers' bats this year as just some big names that were expected to contribute this year. Jake Berger, 62 OPS plus. Ouch. Marcus Semien, 50 OPS plus. Ouch. Odolis Garcia, 86 OPS plus. Yikes. Jock Peterson, -1 OPS plus. I didn't know that stat can go negative. I didn't know anyone could challenge Chris Davis's infamous streak. Yet here we are. I love you, Jock. You're a Dodgers legend. I'll buy pearls if you start hitting well. But at least in my diagnosis, this team is way, way, way too aggressive, man. If you look at it, all the hitters, with the exception of Semien, have had their walk rates go down this year. And I get the aggressive approach, but because it works for certain people like Corey Seager, is he will go after that first pitch, but he will look for his pitch and earn the walk. I don't see a lot of people earning walks, especially in that big start they had against Sasaki and the Dodgers. That's where I noticed it the most, is they are just swinging at everything, man. I get you didn't want Sasaki to get to that splitter, but you're just swinging at anything and anything that moved in the zone, which is a good approach if it works. But Jake Berger is not a contact hitter. He's a power hitter. Semien, yeah, he's got a lot of contact in his bat, but I'd rather him be a little more selective. Adolis Garcia, same thing, not known for his contact. He's got a lot of power. Jock Peterson, all he does is hit for power. He's like the three true outcomes personified here, but you're not letting your hitters get that chance here. So I hope the new hitting coach really emphasizes a patient plate approach, because the Rangers pitching staff, they've been great. Like Rocker, Leiter, Tyler Mahle, my God, he's on that Yoshinobu Yamamoto like ERA pace. He's got like a 3.21 ERA plus. Again, I didn't know that number could start with a 3 for a starting pitcher at this point in the season. Jacob deGrom, yeah, he's not been, Jacob deGrom, but who could be? He's a great pitcher, and he's pitching like a great pitcher this year. But they are being wasted by the fact that this this offense is taking the same approach I did in T-ball, where fuck it, I'm just gonna swing at everything, and it's not working. So please be a little more patient at the plate here. Let's see if it works for the Rangers. Let's see how they adapt under the new hitting coach's philosophy. Really a do or die moment early on for the struggling Rangers. And now we have a big series to watch here. It's the first place Mets versus the first place Cubs. We have unstoppable force meeting immovable object, and I'm kind of here for it. Surprisingly, the Mets have had the best rotation in baseball. I don't know how Peterson does it, man, but he finds guys. He makes adjustments with that pitching staff, and they've done it yet again. And I talk about this a lot on this show because, yeah, it's been very impressive. The Cubs offense is absolutely killing anybody that stands in their way right now. So it's really going to be a fun series to watch. And offensive, or in the pitching matchups, game 1, Jameson Taillon will face off against Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes is a fantastic starting pitcher. He's got a 2.57 ERA. Taillon has been fine this year. Not as good as Clay Holmes, but that should be the best pitching matchup of the series. In game 2, MLB.com had Shota Imanaga starting, but he hit the IL. So it is to be determined right now. Love their stat line versus Tyler McGill, who again is having another great start to the year. ERA under 3, looking very good. And then the finale, Matthew Boyd versus Griffin Canning, who finally learned how to locate that fastball and now has an ERA under 3. He faces Boyd, who similarly has an ERA under 3. He just does not pitch deep into games. So you're really looking at Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong, who's been a revelation this year, quite frankly. It's him and Ohtani that have at least, 7 home runs, 9 stolen bases. That's pretty good company to keep if you're PCA. Dodgers legend Michael Busch has been great to start the year. Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki have looked really good. So these are all names you should be watching on the Cubs because they really have to do damage off this pitching staff because the bullpen, you don't want to get it to Edwin Diaz. He's been great again to start the year. And, of course, for the Mets, it's been all about Pete Alonso. Yeah, Juan Soto, he hasn't been the best to start the year. By his standards, I should say. He's had a good start. He's just not been Juan Soto to start the year. Pete Alonso has been phenomenal. He is going to get that $100 million contract. He's playing like a superstar right now. And the rest of the Mets offense is fine for the most part. I don't want to like shit on them by any means, but they're not the Cubs offense, who can be, quite frankly. But it's just going to be a fun series to watch. It's a potential playoff matchup. But really, I just want to watch two first-place teams that got to first in two totally different ways. It's going to be a great series. Definitely check it out. But let me know in the comments down below. Are you going to be trying out for the Chicago Cubs pitching staff? I think they need you. What series are you looking forward to the most? And most importantly, what is causing the Rangers' struggles? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the Run the Play Network, and don't forget on the way out, play ball.